Gananam tva ganapatikum havamahe kavim kavinamupamashravastavam Jyeshthārajam brahmanam brahmanaspatana shrunvannutibhis seedasadanam Shri Mahaganadhipataye namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dear friends, we were reading the fifth mantra in the Ishavasya Upanishad. The fifth mantra is Tad ejati, tannaijati, tad dure, tad vantike, tad antarasya sarvasya, tadu sarvasyasya bahyataha. We are reading the bhashyam under it. So this fourth mantra and fifth mantra, they tell about the nature of Atma, the nature of that supreme reality. Atma means not only the self of this individual self, but that supreme reality. So what is that supreme reality? It has been, the text has been saying. So initially in the fourth mantra it said, Anejad Ekam Manaso Javiyaha. So it is all pervading. Anejat, it doesn't move. It doesn't move means it is of the nature of infinity, and it is one only. Then it is faster than the mind. Wherever you go, it is already there. So the same thing, the fifth mantra again, it tells the same thing. Shankaracharya, he commented, Na mantranam jamita asti. The text is never tired of repeating. The text is never tired of giving instructions again and again. So that is why almost the same meaning is told in the next mantra. And we have been reading this mantra, fifth mantra. So we have also seen some bhashyam. Na kevalam dure antikecha. It is not only far, it is also antike. It is far away from those who have this dehatma buddhi. Those who identify themselves with the body-mind complex, for them it is far away. Kalpakoti satairapi, something like that he was saying. Kincha tat dure varsha koti satairapi avidusham aprapyatvat dureiva varsha koti satairapi. Hundreds of thousands of years or millions of years, hundreds of millions of years. It is not reachable. So long as you have this dehatma bhava, so long as the Atma identifies itself with the say body-mind complex which is the upadhi. So long as you identify with that, there is no question of say knowing yourself. But then it is also antike. It is so close for somebody who can do discrimination, somebody who can do some viveka. Viveka is the discrimination. It is atyanta sameepa. Because vidusham atmatvat, for the vidwan, for the people, for the enlightened one, for the awakened one, it is the very self. So they realize that it is their own self. So that line we read. Na kevalam dure antikecha. This also we read. Tad antaha abhyantare asya sarvasya yatma sarvantare tishutehe. It is the indwelling self of all things. Then this line we have to read. Asya sarvasya jagataha nama rupa kriyatmakasya tad u sarvasyapi bahya tad u api sarvasyasya bahyatah vyapakatvat akashavat niratishe sukshmatvat antah prajnana ghana eva iti shasanat nirantaram cha nirantaram cha. Okay, nirantaram it doesn't. Okay, sha is not there. Fine. Asya sarvasya jagatah, for this whole universe. Asya, of this sarvasya jagatah, of this whole universe. And universe is of the nature of names and forms. The text always says the jagat is only names and forms. It is something which is there, which is something which is visualized in that supreme Brahman, in that supreme reality. This asti bhati priyam, that is existence and consciousness. Existence, consciousness and priyam. These three things are the, priyam is bliss. So these three, happiness. So these three things are the nature of the Brahman. Nama Rupa, this names and form, this is the Jagat. All these five constitute this Jagat. Asti Bhati Priyam Rupam Namachet Yamsha Panchakam. There are 5 items. In this, the first 3, they are the real nature, they are the nature of Brahman. That is asti, bhati and priyam. That is existence, consciousness and bliss. The other two things, names and forms. Names and forms are what constitute the Jagat, what constitute the universe. Name, form, that is all the human beings, all types of, all the diversity, so much of plurality, so much of activity in the whole universe. Because of this diversity, everybody wants to achieve something. There is a competition, there is an achievement, sense of competition, sense of achievement and whatnot. So with all these things, there is what is called a Kriya. This Kriya is basically because of human desires. The human desire, the desire motivates a person to engage himself in an action. So that is why it is Nama Rupa Kriyatmakam Jagat. So wherever you come across the word Jagat, usually there is a commentary Nama Rupa Kriyatmakam. So in the world what we see is names, forms and work. Then Tadapi, Tadvu. Tadvu means api. That also is what Sarvasyasya Bhahyataha. So this say Brahman which we are talking about, it is also in this. It is also in this and it is also outside this. Sarvasyasya Bhahyataha. Bhahyataha means outside. Outside means Vyapakatvat. It is beyond that. Bhahyataha means it is beyond that. It transcends what we see as Jagat. Not only it is there in everything, Stavara, Jangama, in everything which is in the universe, and it is also beyond, much beyond that. So this is something similar to what I was saying yesterday from Bhagavad Gita. Matstani Sarva Bhutani. That is 8th chapter, in the 9th chapter, Lord Krishna says, all the beings are in me. When you say all the beings are in me, that is from the point of view of, say, the gold. For example, the gold, and you take hundreds and thousands of ornaments. All these ornaments, they are made of gold only. They are not different from gold. So all these ornaments are in this gold. All modifications like ocean, wave, river, then say water bubble and anything related to water, they are all modifications in water only. Just as gold, all gold ornaments are modifications in gold. Similarly, all types of modifications in water are only water, are in water. Hundreds of types of vessels are in clay. So like that, this example is basically told to say that this Brahman is something which is the material cause and also the instrumental cause for the universe. So we have seen another example, that Urnanabhi example in another Upanishad. Urnanabhi is that spider. Just as the spider releases and withdraws the whole thing. So that is to illustrate that the Brahman is both the material cause and also the instrumental cause. There is no need for an external, there is no other external agency, and there is no external material. So that is what it is. Then in the Gita again says, Nachamastani Bhutani. That is, all these beings are really not in me, really speaking. If you say that all these beings are in me, what does it mean? So you have to visualize this Brahman as a huge, some giant, a giantly personality in whom all these things are there. Like we are human beings, and then maybe in our stomach there may be millions and millions of bacteria. So like that we have to visualize. So you can't visualize Brahman like that. You can't visualize Brahman like a huge giant in whose stomach we are all there. So we can't visualize like that. So Brahman is of the nature of consciousness only. And that consciousness, if you say that consciousness has transformed into this Jagat, there is a Brahma Parinamavada also, isn't it? So the number one is Brahma is there, and Brahma has taken some material and made this universe. That is the one Vada. One Vada means one type of argument. Then there is another Vada. Say, okay, this Brahma or Maya, Brahma is something which has transformed into this Jagat. If this consciousness were to transform into this universe, this universe means which is insentient. So then what percentage of this Brahman, what percentage of this consciousness has transformed into this universe? Has some little finger of that Brahman? Brahman, has he just taken out his little finger and then made this Jagat? Or has he pulled out some portion of his hand and then prepared the Jagat? So what percentage of his body has been transformed into this Jagat? All these questions will arise. Or has the Brahman converted himself 100% into this Jagat? If that is so, who is the witness for that? Who is the Sakshi? what is that intelligence which is watching? What is the intelligence which is seeing that conversion of Brahman into this Jagat? So all these questions will arise. So Nachamastani Bhutani says that indeed all this is an appearance in Brahman. It is a phenomena. It is a manifestation. So that is why we say that in this creation also, whenever we say creation, it is not something which is emanating from Brahman. That Urnanabhi example, the example of the spider, is also basically to illustrate a point, that's all. Urnanabhi, it is that spider. Spider, it is releasing the thread and again it is withdrawing. So whenever it releases, it is going out of it, isn't it? So that there is something external. There is something external to it. So that example is not 100% correct. That example is only to drive home the point that it is both the instrumental cause and also the material cause. That's all. We have to take up to that point only. So here, when you say Nachamastani Bhutani, all these beings are not really in me, what does it really mean? That this consciousness, it is not as though it has transformed itself into this Jagat. Consciousness, in that consciousness, all these things are appearing. So that is what it means. Just as you see a snake on a rope. So it is a phenomena, it is an appearance, it is a manifestation. So that is why we say this world has emanated, we do not say. We don't say that the world has emanated from Brahman. When you say emanated, it means that it is God is there and then from him something else is emanating. There is some outside space where something is coming out. It is not like that. It is an appearance in that consciousness. So that is what say we have to see here. So, sarvasyasya bhahyataha vyapakatvat akashavat niratishe sukshmatvat, all these words mean the same. Akashavad. Akasha is the huge space. The huge space, because the space is something which we can't limit. The more you think of, the more galaxies and more say Milky Ways and so many things you think of, the much beyond is the space, isn't it? So this Brahman is like that. Akashavad niratishe sukshmatvat. Niratishaya, unparalleled. Sukshma, it is so subtle. You can't imagine. Sukshmatvad, antaha, it is there, antaha. Then prajnana ghanayeva. This is another important point. Prajnana ghanayeva. You and I are not prajnana ghana. You and I have some knowledge. Definitely you and I, there is some consciousness reflected in my antahkarana and your antahkarana. Because of this reflection of consciousness in the antahkarana, there is what is called an antahkarana vritti. That is the mind modification, as we call it in English. So when I see an object, so this consciousness which is reflecting in my mind, it reaches that particular object and then merges with that merges with the consciousness associated with that object. So that is what Vedanta Paribhasha says. Vedanta Paribhasha distinguishes between three types of consciousness. One is consciousness reflecting in the antahkarana. One is that vrutyavachinna chaitanyam, that is modification. Along with the modification, this chaitanyam is there. And then the vishayavachinna chaitanyam. When all these three things merge, then that knowledge of that bottle takes place in my mind. So that is how the empirical knowledge takes place. So which means there is a knower, that is there is a person who knows, there is an object, jnaya, there is this jnanam, this vritti. Vritti is this jnanam is there. So there is this triputi, this threefold division is there. This triputi, this threefold division, or this triad as we call it, it is there. Jnata, jnayam and jnanam. These three are there. This is in the case of a limited entity. In all cases which are limited entities, this triputi is very much there. When you think of this Brahman, there is no such triputi. In the sense that Brahman, there is no mind as such. If you want to visualize a mind in Brahman, it will mean that there is something beyond him. It is only when something is beyond me, then my mind is able to reach out and my mind is able to think about it. So for Brahma, in the case from the point of view of Brahman, there is nothing beyond him. So there is no mind as such in the sense in which we imagine. So this Vishesha Jnanam means knowledge of various things, knowledge of various attributes. Vishesha Jnana and Samanya Jnana, these two words we have to understand. Vishesha Jnana means I have the knowledge of this particular glass. Then I have the knowledge of this bottle. I have the knowledge of this pen. So these are all Vishesha Jnana. Samanya Jnana is where this Triputi is no longer there, it is pure consciousness. So this pure consciousness which is pervading, that is what is called Prajnana Ghana. Prajnana Ghana. Ghana means just a mass. Ghana, this Ghana. Ghana means a solid. A solid, you can't say solid consciousness or liquid consciousness. That means it is pure consciousness. Ghana means a pure, where there is absolutely nothing. There is no mind, there is no cognition. So you can't put a question, no, do you mean to say that Brahman has no mind, he is not intelligent? Not from our point of view. From our point of view, we have a mind. You and I have a mind, we try to cognize things. From the point of view of consciousness, because Brahman is not a person, from the point of view of consciousness, it is just consciousness which is existing. And that is what is called Prajnana Ghana, where this Triputi is absent. You follow it?
Yes.
So this Prajnana Ghana eva iti shasanat nirantaram cha. Antaram means a small gap. So there is a small gap between me and this particular thing, this particular chair. There is a gap between me and this chair. So, but whereas in the case of this consciousness, it is nirantaram. Absolutely, it is all pervading. So that is what is Prajnana Ghana. This is from this Prajnana Ghana eva is from this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, a Brahmanam called Maitreyi Brahmanam. So from that Brahmana, he talks about Atma is tadyatha saindhava ghana. Saindhava ghana, you take a salt crystal. If you take a salt crystal, it is salt all over. It is not as though that saltiness is there only in one part. It is there all over. So likewise, it is just an example given. So likewise, this consciousness which is there, it is a prajnana ghana. It is there, consciousness all pervading, without any gap, nirantarancha. So that is how the mantra ends. Then we will go to next mantra. This next mantra 6, next and the other subsequent mantra, that is 6 and 7, they talk about the vision of a jnani. So in the beginning we have seen about a jnani. The very first mantra talked of a jnani, how the jnani totally renounces and then he Ishavasya sarvam, etc. Then again in the second mantra talked about a karma yoga. The third mantra talked about a kamya karma. The fourth and fifth talked about the nature of the supreme reality, that tadejati, tannaijati, etc., etc. Now in the sixth and seventh again we are coming back to jnani. So what is the vision of a jnani? How does a jnani look at things? What has happened to him? You see, so if you see somebody who is always thinking about reading philosophy and things like that, generally people call him, "Arey, what has happened to him? He is not bothered about anything." So now we have to see as to what has happened to this jnani. So this jnani is somebody who has this vision, Ishavasya sarvam. That is, he is looking at the whole universe as Ishvara only. So that is what is being mentioned in this particular mantra in a slightly different form. Let us read this. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyevānupasyati sarva bhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijugupsate. Of course we read like a prose only. Anyway, yastu sarvani bhutani, yahatu. So the person who, on the other hand, the person who atmanyeva sarvani bhutani, all the beings atmanyeva anupasyati. He sees all the things in himself. Just now we saw the example of matstani sarva bhutani, all the things exist in me. So from that point of view he has risen to that level. So in me, what is there right now in me? There may be some gas, there is some blood, there is some air. Gas means air only. Some food, something like that. This prithivyapas tejo vayu akashaha are in me. Maybe some bacteria in my stomach. But here, this is the notion of I, isn't it? My notion of I is that, okay, I am this, I weigh about 60 kilos and then I occupy this much of space. So this is my notion. Or if you want to talk more, so I have read some Sanskrit, I am right now teaching some Upanishads, I am this, I am that, etc., etc. So this is the identity which is imposed on me, or which I impose on myself, whatever it is. Then, instead of identifying myself with this I I expand my notion of I amness. I expand my notion. I expand my notion how? This expansion of this I is possible only by Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Because we see the Vedanta Vakyas, Tattvamasi, there Aham Brahmasmi, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, all these things, Ayam Atma Brahma, all these things we see, and then you see all the logic which is behind them. Then slowly think about yourself as not this mere body-mind complex. Of course, it is very much there. It is an upadhi only. It is a small upadhi. But then your real nature is not different from that supreme consciousness. You identify yourself with that supreme reality. Once you identify yourself gradually, in fact, we have seen in Taittiriya Upanishad that is the same thing. There are all these upasanas which are there in the Upanishads, they are meant to expand the notion of I. So instead of staying in this particular small consciousness, you are expanding your notion of I and doing some upasana of a deity. When you are doing upasana of a deity, what does it mean? You are contemplating on the nature of that particular deity. That particular deity you have visualized in a particular form, and you are expanding your self, small self, and then attaining that larger self. So that is what happens in the case of an upasana of a deity. So, but here it is not mere upasana of a small deity, it is understanding of the real nature. There it is upasana. Here it is understanding of your real nature that you are not this, but your real nature is that of consciousness. So for such a man, that vision can happen. To attain that sort of division, you have to go through some little bit of viveka, some little bit of introspection. Why little bit? A lot of introspection. A lot of introspection. You have to be fortunate to have a good guru. That good guru has to lead you. So that is why the Mundaka Upanishad says, Tad Vijnanartham sa gurumeva bhigachet, Samit Panihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam, etc., etc. You have to go to a Shrotriya Brahmanishta. You have to go to a person who knows the entire, who knows all the logic which is mentioned in the scriptures, so that even if you have a doubt, you should be able to clear all those doubts. And you should also be a Brahmanishta, not a mere scholar who knows Brahman at an intellectual level, but who is in that Brahmanishta, who is practicing it, who has realized it. So that sort of Brahmanishta. So you have to see that type of Brahmanishta. So that is what it says. So this vision is possible after you get hold of a good teacher who is able to give you that glimpse of that eternity, glimpse of that supreme consciousness, that realization that you are not different from that supreme reality. So here, yastu sarvani bhutani, atmani eva. Atmani eva means in one's own self, anupashyati. Pashyati means sees. Anupashyati. Anu means after. Sees after. What is this anupashyati? Anupashyati, a little trick, a little meaning. The meaning is that Shastra Acharya Upadesham Anu. That is, after he goes through the Shastra, after he listens to the teacher, Shastra Acharya, after he goes through the Shastra and listens to the teacher, then he is able to have this particular vision. Acharya Upadesham Anupashyati. So he sees. Then, not only that, Sarvabhuteshu cha Atmanam. And in every being, he sees himself. That is, he sees that the nature of every other being is the same as his nature. The Atman which is there in him is the same which is there in an ant, which is there in a dog, which is there in everything. Tatona vijugupsate. And what is the result of all that? Till that time, this man is entertaining a notion of duality. That notion of duality, I am different from that, I am this, I am that, I am such a great scholar, he is not a scholar, I belong to such and such a great clan, he doesn't belong to this great clan, or he is my enemy, so something like that. But then once you realize that you are that supreme reality in which all these things are there, and yourself is the same, yourself means the real self which is consciousness is the same as the consciousness or Atma of the other gentleman, then you love him, spontaneously you love him. So automatically this jugupsa means some sort of disgust, withdrawing from some sort of, it is a revulsion. Suppose you look at something which is very horrible to look at. bhivatsa, something which is bhivatsa, something which is horrible to look at, then you want to protect yourself. Some very, very cruel thing is happening. So you want to you recoil from that, and then you develop a revulsion, you develop disgust, and then withdraw from it. You protect yourself. That is what is jugupsa. Gupu gopane, that is the dhatu. Gupu gopane, that is gopanam means to protecting oneself, to withdraw in revulsion, that is withdraw in disgust. So that is what is jugupsa. He doesn't vijugupsate. A jnani, an enlightened man, an awakened person does not show any jugupsa. He does not withdraw in revulsion, withdraw in disgust, because he does not hate it. He sees it as Atma only. So love is something which spontaneously flows from the heart of an enlightened man. So this is what we have to understand. This jugupsa only when he sees something other than his Atma. So so long as you do not see that there is a sort of barrier around you, there is a barrier created around you, and then you are always on guard, you are always trying to protect yourself. So long as you do not see the reality, you are always on guard. Suppose we are, as ordinary people, I am always on guard when I speak to you. You are always on guard when you speak to me. You never drop guard. So, but then this jugupsa disappears when this person becomes enlightened, when the person realizes his nature. So on self-realization, this self-realization is not only useful for you, it is useful for the welfare of the world. So there is a corollary here. The corollary is this so-called self-realization. It does not mean that a person becomes happy, self-realized, enlightened rather, and then he is just sitting in a corner. It is not like that. This enlightenment is useful for the society because he is a person who loves all. He doesn't hate anybody. He doesn't harm anybody. Abhayam vai pratishtham vindate. That way we are going to see that abhayam, that is fearlessness. He is not afraid of anything because he doesn't see the other person as a threat. So he does not visualize any threat from anything. So that is why there is no vijugupsa. So let us see the bhashyam. Yaha parivrat mumukshuhu sarvani bhutani avyaktadini sthavarantani atmanyeva anupashyati atma vyatiriktani napashyati ityarthaha. Okay, yaha parivrat mumukshuhu. Now the context is yaha yastu sarvani bhutani. Who is this yaha? He who. It says the he who. Who is this who? Parivrat. Parivrajaka. The meaning of parivrajaka is paritaha vrajati. So we listen to say some descriptions like Paramahamsa Parivrajaka etc. etc. So this Parivrajaka does not move at all. He is sitting in some matam. So but then real meaning of Parivrajaka is like Shuka Maharshi. Paritaha vrajati. He should not stay in some ashram. He should not build up his ashram. He should not build up his huge temple. He is not like that. Paritaha vrajati. He is there to move around. He is there to spread this wisdom. He is there to spread his knowledge. He is there to spread his love. He is supposed to move around and then spread his love and affection to all humanity. And enlighten the people. Whoever, there may be some people who are capable of receiving it. So the duty of an acharya is this parivrat, paritaha vrajati. Mumukshuhu, a person who is in that moksha. Of course, not only mumukshu, this man is a liberated person. Mumukshu is only somebody who is desirous of moksha. Parivrat mumukshuhu. Then sarvani bhutani, all the beings. And what all the beings? Shankaracharya clarifies. Avyaktadini sthavarantani. Starting from avyakta, right down to a sthavara, right down to a small plant. Avyakta, what is avyakta? Avyakta is that unmanifestation. Unmanifestness, unmanifested state. What is that? That is what we call Maya. Beyond that thing is that supreme reality called consciousness. That consciousness has that expressive power or manifesting power called Maya. That is still in a potential form, it is still unmanifest form. So that unmanifest form is called Maya. Maya vachinnam chaitanyam ishvara we say. So that is unmanifest. Starting from that unmanifest down to this place. All are in me. Then what does it mean? that means you are equating yourself with that supreme reality. It is only when you are in that state of awareness as pure Brahman, only then you can say that Avyakta, starting from Avyakta right down to a plant, they are all in me. It is like a wave suddenly realizing that I am the ocean. All these things are in me. So it is like a small wave realizing that it is not a wave, it is something which is a mighty ocean. So here Avyakta adini sthavarantani. Avyakta adini means starting with Avyakta, sthavara anta, ending with sthavara. Atmani eva anupashyati. He sees all of them in himself. Then Atma Vyatiriktani napashyati. He doesn't see anything which is apart from. Vyatirikta means something which is apart from himself. So this Atma Jnana is something which is leading to a sort of unconditional love and affection, total disappearance of hatred. Disappearance of hatred means appearance of love. Disappearance of hatred means is a love where there is no question of strings, there is no condition. So there is no need to say, okay, love your neighbor, etc. Of course, the religion always says, okay, love your neighbor, you will love everybody. Atma upamyena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna. So you see everybody, you look at love everybody as you love yourself. All these things they are told in all religions. Love thy neighbor, of course, is Christianity. In all religions it is said like that. This is a sort of instruction. This is an instruction which is giving a sort of conditioning, which is conditioning a small boy, which is conditioning a human being. Of course, that conditioning also is very good. It is very much necessary. But then this is much beyond conditioning. This is something, an awareness. It is something due to realization. Conditioning is due to instruction. Your father says, okay, you respect elders, okay, you love everybody, you should not hate anybody, don't talk ill of anybody. All these things is something ethical conditioning, you can say. So here it is not an ethical conditioning. Here it is not moralizing. Here it is an awareness. Here it is an understanding. By understanding, this love is something which automatically happens, and automatically all disgust and hatred, they disappear. Na vijugupsate. We are going to see that. Atma Vyatiriktani napashyati ityarthaha. Then sarvabhuteshu cha teshveva cha atmanam. Teshamapi bhutanam swam atmanam atmatvena. Yatha asya dehasya karyakarana sanghatasya atma aham sarva pratyaya sakshibhutah chetayita pratyaya kevalo nirgunah anenaiva swarupena Avyaktadinam stavarantanam ahameva atma iti sarvabhuteshu cha atmanam nirvishesham yastu anupasyati. Okay, we'll start. Sarvabhuteshu cha. Sarvabhuteshu means, and in all beings. In all beings. Teshveva. Teshveva means in all those things which are mentioned. Teshu. In those things which are mentioned. What are they? Sthavarantani, Avyaktadini, Sthavarantani said, isn't it? So in all those things, Swam Atmanam, he has to see one's own self in all the beings. He has to see one more, one's own Atma. And Atmatvena, and he has to look at it as his own self. Atmatvena means look at something else as his own self. And then Yatha Asya Dehasya Karyakarana Sanghatasya Atma Aham. Just as I am the self of this Karya Karana Sanghata, just as I am the self of this body-mind complex, Karya Karana Sanghata. Karya is the body, Karanam is all these indriyas, sense organs. So this is the complex, Karya Karana Sanghata. Sanghata means an assemblage, a complex. Just as I am the self of this Karya Karana Sanghata, I am also the self of all the beings. So that is what it is. Sarva pratyaya sakshi bhutaha. I am the sakshi, I am the witness for all the pratyayas, for all the mental modifications. Pratyaya means a mental modification, chitta vritti, all the experiences, let us say. For all the experiences. Then chetayita. Chetayita, I am the person who is the chetayita, that which is moving that is the Chaitanya Swarupa. I am the Chaitanya in this whole thing. I am the activator for the whole thing. Chetayita. The Chetayita means not only Chetana, but that which imbues something else with consciousness, imbuing something else with consciousness. I am imbuing, infusing consciousness in this body-mind complex. So that is the Chetayita, one who is an activator, illuminer, let us say. So Chetayita, Kevalaha, Nirgunaha. Kevala is that alone, I am that self, Nirguna, attributeless, alone. Then Anenaiva Swarupena. Anenaiva Swarupena means in the same manner, in the same form. Ahameva Atma, Avyaktadinam. I am the self of all these things starting from Avyakta, starting from that unmanifest down to a sthavara, down to a blade of grass. I am the stavarantanam ahameva atma iti. Sarva bhuteshu cha atmanam. Nirvishesham. This is another important word. Nirvishesham means you have stopped seeing the Vishesha. You have stopped seeing the plurality. All this plurality you are not seeing. So it is as though, of course, it cannot happen in the case of nations. So you can't. Nations are always quarreling with one another. But then, human beings, it is quite possible. Human beings, particularly a mumukshu, it is very much needed. Mumukshu, otherwise he is not a mumukshu. A mumukshu who keeps in mind his identity very much intact, who has defined himself in a particular way, who has defined an enemy in a different way. So it is simply not possible. So we are not talking about these people. We are talking about a real mumukshu. So real mumukshu sees this nirvishesham vastu. He does not see that other person as something particular with an identity. He just as he totally eradicates his own identity, he does not bother for the identity of the other person. He looks at the other person also as the Atma Swarupa, Nirvishesham. So that his own attributeless self, let us say, that Nirvishesham Atmanam Pashyati. Then Sa Tataha Tasmadeva Darshanat Na Vijugupsate Vijugupsam Grunam Nakaroti Praptasyaiva Anuvadoyam. Okay. So what happens to that man? Sarvabhuteshu cha yaha no pashyati. When one sees like that, what happens to him? Sa tataha. Then from that type of vision, tataha means from such vision, by virtue of such vision. By virtue of such vision, what happens? Tasmadeva darshanat na vijugupsate. What is the result of darshana? That darshana, it leads him, all his say revulsion, all his hatred, all his dislike, and then desire to protect oneself, desire to withdraw, all these things, they disappear. And then when that disappears, this spontaneously he loves everybody. There is no need to say love thy neighbor or anything. He naturally loves. When jugupsa disappears, naturally the opposite of jugupsa naturally appears. He looks at every other person as his own self, and just as he loves his own self, he loves all other selves. Na vijugupsam na grunam karoti. That gruna, that disgust, that repugnance. So he doesn't withdraw in repugnance. Then praptasyaiva anuvadaha ayam. Praptasya anuvadaha means that is a natural state. Praptaha, it is already there. Praptasyaiva anuvadaha means it is just telling what is a fact. Praptasya anuvadaha, this word we come across very often. Praptasyaiva anuvadaha means we are not saying something new, we are just saying what is already existing. Praptasyaiva anuvadaha. Praptasya, what is already existing. Anuvadaha means just a mention. You are just mentioning what is already there. That means when a person has that vision of oneself as Brahman, then obviously that jugupsa disappears and spontaneous love flows. There is no need to tell about it. It is already there. It is just praptasya anuvada, mere mention of what is already there. So that is what it is. Then sarvahi gruna atmanaha anyat drushtam pashyatah bhavati. Anyat dushtam pashyatah bhavati. Is it dushtam? What does it say? Anyat dushtam. At sarvahi atma. Okay. So anyat dushtam pashyatah bhavati. Atmanameva atyantam vishuddham nirantaram pashyatah na grunanimittam arthantaram asti iti praptameva. Ato na vijugupsate. Okay, then now he says sarvahi gruna. All this gruna, this sort of dislike, repugnance, revulsion, to whom does it happen? It happens only anyetu dushtam pasyataha. For someone who is looking at something as bad, who is seeing something as bad, dushtam, something which is bad, something which is an object of hatred. So somebody who sees something else as an object of hatred, all this gruna is possible. Gruna means that sort of dislike, revulsion, repugnance, all these things it can happen only for a person who sees this division and he finds fault with somebody else. But in the case of this person, in the case of Atmanameva, Atyantam Vishuddham Pashyataha, for someone who is seeing this Atmanameva, that is, he is seeing everything else as his own Atman, for such a person, then he sees the self alone in all the things. That is Atyanta Vishuddham. Atyanta Vishuddham Atmanam, that is extremely pure. He looks at everybody as that person, that Atma only. And then Nirantaram, that all pervading, pure, extremely pure Atma he sees. Na gruna nimittam arthantaram na pashyati. For him there is no cause. Na gruna nimittam. There is no cause. There is no object of revulsion. There is no cause for revulsion. So there is no arthantaram. Arthantaram means another object. So there is no other object which is the cause of revulsion. Gruna nimittam arthantaram napashyati means he does not see any object which can be a cause for revulsion. So because he loves everything, then the iti praptameva. Iti praptameva means it is already known. It has already been deduced above. Praptameva. Tato na vijugupsate iti. It is already well established or very clearly seen that he does not show any revulsion to anything. He likes everything. He loves everything. So that is what it means. Then the next mantra also almost says the same thing. Next mantra, let us see. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhudvijanatah tatra komoha kashyokah ekatvam anupashyatah. This verse also is continuing to say the vision of a jnani, the vision of an awakened person. How does an awakened person see? The earlier mantra also we have seen, he does not show any revulsion. Here again, he has no delusion whatsoever. He has no fear whatsoever. He has no shoka. He has no sorrow whatsoever. So that's what it is going to say. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmaiva bhut. For the person, yasmin means for the person, or at the time when, vijanataha means for the one who has realized, for the realized person, sarvani bhutani, all the beings, atmaiva bhut, when all the beings have become his own self. For a realized person, when all the other things have become his own self. For a realized person, when all the things have become his own self, tatra, in such a context, or for such a person, ko mohaha kasyokaha. Where is the question of moha, that is delusion? Where is the question of sorrow, that is ekatvam anupashyatah? Where he is seeing oneness, in all. Where is the question of where is moha and where is shoka? So where is moha and where is shoka means there is no moha. It is called a rhetorical question. Where is moha? Means when you say like that, there is no moha. That is the answer. So it is called a rhetorical question which expects a negative answer, which anticipates a negative answer. So this avidya or ignorance is the cause for moha and shoka. When he sees oneness, it means that avidya has disappeared. Once that avidya has disappeared, avidya which is the cause for this duality has disappeared, then where is the question of shoka, where is the question of moha? So that is what it means. Then let us see the bhashyam. Imamevartham anyopi mantra aha. The same meaning another mantra also is saying. What is it? Yasmin sarvani bhutani iti. Yasmin kale yathokta atmaniva.
Yasmin kale yatokta atmaniva.
Okay, for this word yasmin, he is giving two meanings. That is, yasmin literally means in that in which, or it can also mean that in which means that the person in whom. Yasmin, we are now referring to a person. So the person in whom. So that is what it means. Or it can also mean yasmin kale, at the time when. It can also mean both ways. When you are referring to a person, the person in whom such a vision has arisen. That is what it is. A person in whom such a knowledge has arisen. Or at a time when such knowledge has arisen. So in both ways you can say. Yasmin at yathokta atmaniva tanyeva bhutani sarvani paramarthatma darshanat atmaiva abhut आत्मैव संवृत्तः परमार्थ वस्तु विजानतः तत्र तस्मिन् काले तत्र आत्मनिव को मोहः कश्योकः. Okay, so yasmin kale, at a time when, or yathokta atmaniva tanyeva bhutani, the very same beings, all these beings, then tanyeva bhutani sarvani paramartha atmadarshanat, by virtue of seeing that supreme self, paramartha atma, that is that supreme self, by virtue of seeing or realizing that supreme self, atmaiva abhut, it has become one. So you see here, this sarvani bhutani is in plural, all the beings. Then atmaiva abhut is in singular. So all these things are becoming one. So he is not seeing any duality. So that is rather slow. In this verse we have to see, this plurality has disappeared in him. All the beings have become one. So atmaiva abhut, it does not say abhavan, atmaiva abhavan, atmaiva abhut. It has become only one. So atma is one, in which all these different things they appear. They all become one. He sees all these things as one. So vijanatah means for the person for an enlightened person, for this enlightened person who sees all these things as one, as his own self, then atmaiva samvruttah, that is atmaiva abhut means atmaiva samvruttah, they have all become his own self. Then paramartha vastu vijanatah, then tatra, at that time, tasmin kale, tasmin atmaniva, that in such a person, ko moha kashokaha, where is the question of moha or shoka? So there is no question of revulsion. So for a realized person, he sees everything in his own self. Then shokasya mohasya kama karma bijam ajanatah bhavati natu atmaikatvam vishuddham gaganopamam pashyatah. So for this shoka and moha, this delusion and grief, shoka is grief, moha is delusion. This shoka moha, this shoka, grief and delusion, this is what is this? Kama karma bijam. This is the bijam, this is the seed for all desire. Shoka is only due to desire. You have a desire, this desire you are not able to fulfill. So naturally when you are not able to fulfill a desire, there is a sorrow. Then moha, there is a delusion. There is a delusion that yes, this is what is the most desired thing for me, I have to somehow achieve it. So when you are, all this shoka leads to moha, moha leads to something else. So like that, a person goes on and on in that cycle. So it is kama karma bijam. So this desire motivates you to a particular action. Kama karma. This kama and karma, they go together. When there is a desire, there is an activity. Kama karma bijam. All these things happens to ajanatah. Earlier line said vijanatah. This ajanatah is the opposite of vijanatah. Vijanatah is for an enlightened person. Ajanatah means for an ignorant person. So for an ignorant person only, this shoka, moha can happen, not to a vijanatah. Then natu atmaikatvam pashyatah. It does not happen to a person who sees the oneness of Atman. What is that atmaikatvam? Vishuddham gaganopamam. That which is pure, which is totally unaffected by all this body-mind complex. You may be having hundreds and hundreds of body-mind complexes, but you are not seeing the difference. You are dismissing all those things. And then you are seeing only that one, ekatvam, that vishuddham, that consciousness which is untouched by all these things, the consciousness which is the witness for all, you are seeing that thing, gaganopamam. The gaganopam means that which is like the sky, comparable to that sky, comparable to that space. Comparable to that space, the same consciousness is there pervading everywhere. So when you are able to see that, there is no question of grona, there is no question of hatred, there is no question of say sorrow. So ko mohaha kashokaha iti shokamohayoho avidya karyayoho akshepena asambhava pradarshanaat sakaranasya samsarasya atyantameva uchchedah pradarshito bhavati. Okay, so here ko mohaha kashokaha, where is the question of moha, where is the question of shoka, where is the question of delusion, where is the question of sorrow? Iti shokamohayoho avidya karyayoho. What are these two? These two are actually avidya karye, karyam karye. Okay, avidya karyayoho. These two are avidya karye. That is, these are the products of avidya. These are the products of ignorance. It is only when a person is ignorant. It is ignorant means not ignorant in the sense that he is a total fool. He is not a realized person. He is considering himself to be a particular ego. This empirical ego is very strong in him. So when that empirical ego is so strong in him, he is not able to go beyond that. So he is fully into this mode of achievement. What next mode? He is fully into this shoka and moha. He is fully into kama and karma. So for such a person, this avidya karyam, these two are avidya karya only. So tayoho akshepena, by dismissing them. Akshepa means by rejecting them. Akshepa. So akshepa, as I said, is a rhetorical question. That is aksheparthe, ko mohaha kashokaha, etc. It is called akshepartha. Akshepa means just throwing out. Shipa dhatu. Shipa means throw. Akshepa, you are just throwing out, rejecting. So akshepena asambhava pradarshanaat, you have shown the impossibility of these two. In the case of a realized person, this shoka and moha are impossible. Pradarshanaat sakaranasya samsarasya atyantameva uchchedah. So this samsara is not wife and children. Samsara, we know, it is not wife and children. Samsaranam is samsara. Samsaranam is moving around the cycle of transmigration. This birth, activity, death, birth, activity, death. So this birth, karma and death, let us say. So this is this cycle. This cycle goes on and on and on. So this is due to avidya. Sakaranasya samsarasya. What is this karanam for this samsara? Avidya. This ignorance is the cause for this samsara. Atyantameva uchchedah. You have totally plucked it out. Uchchedah means uchchedah. Like you pluck out a plant. You just pluck out a plant along with the roots. Uchchedah. Ut means up. Uchcheda means just plucking out. Atyantameva uchchedah. You have just plucked out the whole thing. Whole ignorance called whole cause or nimitta called ignorance. You have plucked it out and thrown it away. So atyantameva uchchedah pradarshito bhavati. It is demonstrated here. So I think we will stop here. We will take up the next shloka in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.